welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com Broiler Chicken Show. Trade your trading plans, don't take too much risk on any one trade, and just let yourself get rich. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com's Broiler Chicken Show. The wackiest hour and a half full of rants and horrible references you can squeeze in on YouTube and piss plenty of people off all in one go. I don't think so. I think we do a relatively good job here. Not too controversial. I do notice, though, whenever I go on these silly Canadian real estate expert social media feeds and I try and school them on how Canada is a short, my posts and comments to them are constantly deleted. And what's so sad is, I mean, you listen to these silly humans try and explain away all this stuff, and their reasoning makes no sense. It never makes any sense on the way up, and it never makes any sense on the way down. And sadly for my country, we're in a really, really bad spot now, and you can just see them. The whole damn story's imploding on itself. Bit of a tough time to be a human these days, I'll tell you that much, by crackers. As you can see from our fun little newsletter, in fact, actually the thing that jumped out at me, and when I saw this, I went, oh, crap on a stick. You'll notice that our proprietary indicator, TRI breadth indicator, not so bad on the stock market, although you can see that the fast and the slow are fast approaching, or no pun intended, overbought condition. But then I looked at crypto and I went, oh, crap. So not only do we have a situation where the fast snuck its way up into the overbought condition, but now we have a situation where the slow is actually up in that overbought condition. And you can see the histogram embedded both on the short and medium term in the overbought condition. That, my friends, is not a good environment to go and risk your hard-earned money in. It makes for an absolutely perfect circle jerk kind of environment. I did, in fact, most of the time when I put stuff out on crypto Twitter, a lot of the sort of interaction that I have on crypto Twitter is with people that follow me on a relatively long term basis. And, you know, most of the people, when they like or comment or something, I know them, and I actually know them personally. Either met them in person or been part of the TRI education platform. Keep in mind, we've been around for 10 years now. Jesus, we're like old timers at this. This is ridiculous. Actually, even longer than 10 years. And we never really did a 10-year anniversary. We probably should do some sort of over the top 10-year. In fact, actually, you know, probably, I think actually that makes a lot of sense. We're planning on doing a meetup in Greece this fall into the crazy crypto orgy peak. Maybe we'll wrap it around a 10-year anniversary kind of idea talk as well. So anyway, point I'm trying to make is 90% of the time it's relatively quiet, and most of the interactions that I do are with, you know, people that are like, yeah, Brian, you know, we've heard you say that 100 times before and all that kind of stuff. But I'm noticing now when I start actually putting out comments into the Twitterverse, I'm actually starting to hear from the Gucci sweater wearers again. And they've been absent for quite a while. They all were encouraged to go back into the box there through last summer and through the early part of the fall. But they're back out in force. And I did see someone actually openly and brazenly come out and say things like, wow, and you know, I make a comment like this doesn't necessarily say that I'm bullish or bearish. This just tells me, this image right here tells me, don't go and spend your money right now. You're an idiot. Just, wait for things to calm down a little bit and flush themselves out. And I'm starting to get the comments from the public like, well, you're bearish, you're stupid. I mean, not even really reasoned conversations, and making the comment that Mr. Trump, I mean, the ultimate Biff Tannen, and was passing around on our site back when he was president. Before it was, if anybody even remembers, Back to the Future movie series and the good old Biff, and I think it was Back to the Future 2, where he was the casino owner because he placed some bets on the sports almanac book that he had, and he won, and of course became extremely wealthy and took over Western civilization. And actually interesting, if you look at Biff's hairline, and if we actually got a real image of what Alan's hairline looked like, I think it's actually almost identical. So I guess in Biff's days, they never had hair plugs. I don't know. Anyway, I'm an open book guy. If I'm going to go bald, you're all going to see it on air, live. I have nothing to hide. I am, as you watch my hairline recede and I go gray, which, every time I go into my hairdresser, she's like, you're 51 years old and you don't have a goddamn gray hair on your head. You're crazy. But anyway, I'm an open book. I don't like people who wear toupees and stuff like that. I think it's deceptive, and I think it's a commentary on their personality as well. It's a little bit sad, but anyway, that's here nor there. So I guess what I'm trying to say here is, with obviously this weekend's frivolities in that silly Trump pump. I don't know what you want to call it. We're starting to see a little bit of that euphoric behavior in speculators. And in fact, in our level 1 class, I'm trying to load up the YouTube. That's why I keep looking over here and it won't load. What the hell am I doing wrong here? And of course, we've got like 10 different people using this YouTube channel, and I keep screwing up the private codes and stuff like that. So I can completely understand. Why can I not see the feed here? Something suspicious about this. Chris, are we actually recording? You sent me a link. Okay. I know you guys actually like to participate over there on YouTube, so I do want to have this page up and running here. But I even said to a level 1er, keep in mind we do our education program on a trimester system. So beginning of the year, we start a new intake. Hey, there you are. Oh yeah, there are a few people over there. There's a good 50 people. Yeah, can you believe PM been around doing this silly site for 10 years now? And considering I started up the school as nothing more to fund getting my 1980s website and hiring a specific developer, Sjord, part of our team, to get this 1980s website off of the ground. I can't believe I'm still teaching this school program. I don't really want to be. I've never fancied myself a teacher, although ironically enough, I keep getting funneled into the teaching profession. I used to play on the professional tennis circuit with a guy named Pete Sampras a million years ago. And then I ended up becoming a teacher, and I used to teach like thousands of children all over the lower and adults, all ages. I used to teach in the community centers and the schools and all that. So I don't know why. This is the most weird. So same sort of thing. I used to trade with like literally the CME pit. You had the S&P 500 futures pit and the Dow futures pit. And Eddie and Hogue used to stand right in between the two pits. And I literally could hear myself when Eddie's barking away at us in the Top Step community, 10, 15 years ago. Literally, traders would walk up to him and go, what's that Beamish guy doing? It's just like, this is the center of the fucking universe for capitalism. And these guys are asking me what I'm doing? This is crazy. So, and here I am teaching. I don't know what the hell's going on in this crazy ass world. So anyway, this is God's plan for me. Anyway, so here we are. I'm a little bit concerned about what I saw out of the breadth indicator, and this is our proprietary timing tool. I don't really care whether you take a trade or not. It's your money. You do with what it is you please. When I see a message like this, I'm given explicit instructions to cool my frickin' jets. And of course, we have lots of fun little memes and stuff about that around the site. You do with your money as you please. And that's the funny thing with crypto Twitter is I'll put messages out like this, and people seem to take it as some sort of personal insult. You're bearish? Fuck you. It's like, I don't care what you think. This is just how I think, I don't know, crazy ass world. So if you enjoy my musings, great, wonderful. But just I'm just yet another market participant. Here is the crypto 30 breadth actual sort of I think this is the chart of the bullish percentage of this data set. And just like any oscillator, right? When we're oscillating down in the oversold condition, couldn't give stuff away, right? In last October before the election, it was impossible to get people bullish of crypto, other than things like Bitcoin and stuff. Now all of a sudden everybody's all excited about alts and making tons of money, and now even into meme coins and all that kind of crazy stuff again. And of course our community, this is the best part about our community, is there's a million different ways to skin the cat. I mean, there's a million different cats to skin, because you could be a stock trader, you could be an options trader, you could be an index trader, you could trade futures, you could trade commodities, you can trade cryptocurrencies, you can trade the derivatives on crypto. I mean, this just goes on and on and on. Now meme coins, right? I mean, it just never ends. There's a million different cats to skin to make money. But the irony of it all is that if you actually want to come to the market to make money from trading whatever particular asset you're interested in, the process never changes. Never. It's always exactly the same. Build a plan, clearly articulate what it is that's going to get you to act in the marketplace, and make damn sure that your plan is appropriate to who you are. I mean, if you're sitting there with like 5 kids and they're all under the age of 10, and you're the only breadwinner in the family, for fuck's sakes, don't be wasting your time gambling in the market. You've got other bigger issues at hand. And I suppose man up or lady up or whatever. I'm not really sexist. I couldn't care whether you're a man or a woman. All I would say is we're all in this together. 1 + 1 = 3. I think probably the biggest failing in Western society, and I was a victim of this, was basically families growing up with no father in the home. And I walked out on my mother when I was like 12 years old because she couldn't handle the situation of being a mother on her own, and she was doing an absolutely horrible job. So it's not necessarily like it's one sex is better than the other. I don't think that makes any difference. But unfortunately, the sad reoccurring theme in our society, though, is the banksters continually make our lives more and more and more difficult. Now I don't even think it's even possible. I mean, if you want to raise a family maybe in poverty and on welfare or social assistance, but I suppose if you want your family to have a half decent standard of living, it's impossible to have a single income in this world. So anyway, so be careful with your hard-earned money. And if anything, one of the themes I think we're going to have to get used to over the next 4 years is we're back to Biff Tannen kind of reality. Don't be shocked if you see stuff like what a surprise right out of the gate. This Trump guy is basically going to try and just grab as much of your free, easy money as he can see and grab. And my hunch is that it's his boy, the Baron, who is probably the mastermind behind all of this. I mean, I don't know whether it's real or not, but I did see funny memes about Trump farting while in the middle of presentations and shit. And frankly speaking, he's getting really old. So he's still full of piss and vinegar, but my hunch is he's probably going to have Biden kind of moments where he freezes up and, appears senile and stuff. I know he's absolutely in love with his black gold. And if anything, he's probably in his brain. It's probably a bigger solution to all the problems than it really is. And you remember in that Joe Rogan podcast, he's kind of like, Alan could do whatever the hell he wants with his electric cars. I couldn't give a fuck. Just don't touch my black gold. And I did also too. Did find it interesting that through this weekend here, we didn't see Alan's coins actually pump too much. So I did see in a weird sort of way over the past week or two, Alan kind of a little bit on the outs a little bit with Donnie. We'll see what happens. Trump friendships probably only go as far as how big the checks are that you cut to him. So if I understand correctly, Alan handed him a very, very large sum of money, probably more money than any of us individuals will ever see in our life, just to buy his way into his little cult. And my hunch here is Mr. Trump's like, okay, well, that's what you did yesterday. What are you going to do for me tomorrow? So anyway, we'll see how that goes. The art of the quack. That's right. Where is Quack Coin? God, I haven't remember Quackers. Actually, some of the OGs on this site reminded me of the 14, 15, 16, 17 bull run. Man, we had a lot of fun with some of those names right out of the gate. And that was back when there just wasn't too much interest in crypto. So you could get like a 10x, 100x on these things just like that. I don't see that too much anymore. And that doesn't surprise me. I mean, the space is filled out. And of course, it has been securitized. So, Mr. What's Fink, I think that's the guy's name. He's basically running the crypto show now, whether you like it or not. Anyway, there's a whole bunch of rhetoric to start your day. Newsletter. I didn't really actually see anything econ wise that really startled me. What I saw this past week was, of course, we had the January options expiry, the leaps options, and actually on Friday's video, I think I went through and illustrated just absolutely stunning corruption in the leaps markets, where prices actually were taken out relative to options open interest, and more importantly, put open interest, because institutions primarily write most of the puts. And just absolutely cliche, just absolutely insane market manipulation through that event. In fact, I might even still have that data on here. And after the event, these actually get all wiped out and you can't even look at the information anymore. So they're very cheeky how they really manipulate this information. So you can see this even says here, the next options expiry. So even bar chart itself, when it sort of auto refreshes, it wipes out the data. So I can't even show you that now, bastards. But if you want, come on to the TRI site and watch Friday's video. It was quite startling. Even on the things like Bitcoin and the Bitcoin ETF, the market manipulation around that expiry was just stunning. And it really doesn't surprise me the market went out where it did, considering that open interest. So when I look at these econs, what I see is, yeah, inflation is stubbornly high. And things like core rate takes forever for those to come back down. In fact, I was even talking to people about, oh, they're getting a little bit of money, so we better go and spend it right away. So we've already gotten into that mindset where people are expecting more inflation down the road. And that's really the killer. It's not so much, what's happening today. It's people's perception of what's going to happen in the future. And then that dictates how they behave. So through the sickness, of course, they really fucked us all over there. And everybody freaked out when they were locked in their prison cells, and they went like hyper spending and just spent up all the sort of disposable assets that were still buyable. So all the shelves started emptying out, and that caused that short-term spike in inflation, supply and demand, right? No supply, lots of demand. And then, of course, that insult to injury, the central planners take interest rates down to nothing, convince politicians, I'll sacrifice my life to save capitalism, right? All that kind of nonsense to go and spend money they don't have. Just turn the printing presses on. So then you have a situation where people have a whole bunch of money. There's no interest charges for anything. They're highly incentivized to go out there and spend, spend, spend. This is all money we don't have, by the way, these stupid assholes setting us up for failure. Keep in mind, this is exactly the plan of the Great Reset. They have to justifiably hyperinflate the money supply to do the Great Resetting. So basically, they've done it. And there's no way you can undo that now. I mean, I put out a tweet this morning showing how in my country the money printing hasn't even remotely slowed down, at least down in the States. And I think this is why the US currency is doing as well as it is right now. At least down in the States, some reasonable minds, like people like Stanley Druckenmiller, came out and said, what the fuck are you assholes doing to our country? Stop it. And ironically enough, a guy like Jerry, he looks at me and laughs at me, goes, you stupid peasant, I'm not going to listen to you. A guy like Druckenmiller, Mr. Powell has to listen to him. And so as a result, we had, bless the United States, has a great checks and balances system. So literally the socialists got absolutely out of control there. And the American public said, whoa, stop. And literally the money printing stopped as soon as the Congress was passed back over to the Republicans. It does feel as though they're trying to ramp the money printing back up. And I think, unfortunately, Mr. Biden here in his sort of golden years, whatever the hell the end of his presidency here, I think he's just been spending whatever money he could possibly spend, just ramping up the spending as much as possible. And unfortunately, I think that's brought the inflation problem back. Having said that, we are on the precipice of a very important date here, where the executive branch down in the United States will officially transition from a leftist administration to, I would consider it more of a conservative administration, more right-wing, more capitalist. Unfortunately, though, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be friendly. Doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be polite. Doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be fair. I don't think Mr. Trump gives a fuck whether you like him or not. Unless, of course, he's up for election. So anyway, blah, 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 blah. It is interesting to see that just before he takes office, well, he's not under the gun. He pulled off one of these Memecoin issuances. Like I said, I think his sons primarily did it. But nonetheless, Mr. Trump said, what the hell, if you can do it, go for it. The only problem with this is I think he undermined because, and actually somebody in the TRI lounge made a very good point about this, is that you can feel, you look around society, people don't have a bunch of disposable income just lying around. They just don't have it. So I would make the argument that the liquidity within the crypto space is relatively limited. And of course, anybody that's in part of sort of the broader society, grown-ups, baby boomers, Julian would call them legacy, all that kind of stuff, talk. They're all going to be funneled into the ETFs and Mr. Fink's products, etc. And I think those have been highly securitized, and they are completely now manipulated by Wall Street. They will take them up when they figure that the public is not really that interested, and they'll take it back down when the public, of course, is super ridiculously interested. And that's just the capitalist game. Welcome to it. But it was interesting through the weekend to watch how, Trump's meme coins, that one particular meme coin, I think, went up like a million X or whatever. And not a big surprise with these new issues. I mean, that's what typically happens with new issues. There's just nobody, no bag holders to want to get out. So if they can just keep pumping it higher, great. And I think actually there's a graphic illustration of what they did, basically coming from nothing. I don't know. I mean, you look at a price chart. Does that look like something that Brian would be like, oh, yeah, go and buy that? You'll do great. Hey, if anything, if you are interested in this particular meme, I don't know why you would be. And I don't even know if this is even the right place to look at this. And I think actually somebody in the AMA document actually asked about this Trump coin. There's your daily price chart. So you're not really going to be able to do a hell of a lot of, higher time frame technical analysis off of something that looks like that. You saw that I had like the hourly chart up here. I suppose, we could have said this is an initial move, right? So A to B. And then you got a half decent little consolidation. That's not bad. Got a cute little W. Could you, let's see if my drawing tool will work. Could you have justified maybe hunting a long setup through that to play that move? I don't see why not. That's a good part about technical analysis is the universe is a fractal. So what that means is that it doesn't really matter if you look at this on a weekly, monthly, quarterly, yearly, but then you can also go the other way. Daily, 4 hour, 1 hour, 30-minute, 15-minute, 5-minute, 3-minute, 1-minute tick chart. All of the principles are all exactly the same. It's just really a question of, can you find location? Can you find indicator confirmation? Can you find price structure to frame your behavior? And as I said there a second ago, the universe is a fractal. So, really shouldn't surprise us to, this would be my bullish bot setup. We go something like boom-a-da-boo, and we'll get rid of the extension and Fogger bombs, and we'll do like 33%. I ideally like to see 33%, at least that much of a correction, just sort of clean out the excess. I don't really want to see it go beyond 66 or 2/3 of the move. Maybe that means that maybe this isn't a continuation. It's more of a range market. I don't see 66 on here though, so I guess we'll just put it here. 0.66. Maybe make that yellow. Yeah, there we go. And let's flip that around. All right, so you can see we did make 33% correction. Ideally, I like to see 3 lows to work with just because I'm a chicken shit by nature and I want to have lots and lots of lows to defend my trade. I really wouldn't fault you if you had said, well, Brian, that's a pretty darn looking W, or good looking W. I'm just going to buy the W, especially if it lines up with like 25% levels. So I wouldn't fault anybody. I mean, it's not like we're really here to reinvent the wheel. We're just, if anything, my job is just to give you the framework. And then, you decide whether you want to take the trade, take the risk. If the trade doesn't work, well, you have to act appropriately and manage risk. These would be like our alt A, B, C, D. It depends on what type of harmonic where this thing stops out. But where does that paint? Well, let's flip it around. Or reverse. There you go. So ironically enough, I wouldn't even be surprised if this thing has a little bit more left in the gas tank, because quite often if they can blast through 100s, 1.272s, usually they have to go up to this 1.618, and then usually that becomes an absolute no-brainer trade location. So, I mean, hopefully you look at this and go, son of a gun, look at that. The damn W set right up off of that 25 level. As I said earlier, I mean, I'm chicken shit by nature. So I would have liked to have seen like a W within a W within a W. My favorite pattern, I've been working with this one gentleman, David O, on the site for, 10 years. He absolutely loves hunting this pattern, sort of like Eve. And then can you get like a double bottom, or excuse me, atom, a single low? And then can you get a W over here? So that gives you your one low, two lows, three lows kind of idea. Maybe this is like, I don't know, 15-minute chart. Who knows? Oh, yeah, there you go. So you can see that nice V bottom rally up, and then this looks like head and shoulders, eh? So shoulder, neckline, head, neckline, shoulder, breakout. It's a tough one to see. New people to trading probably can't see that. I'd also maybe if you wanted to throw in a nice little trend line break. So boom, boom, boom. All right, give me some sort of bullish structure on the other side of this trend line. I mean, it's not pretty. Definitely a 3-bar fractal. That's an empire right there. Empires are kind of tough for new people to trade. I always talk about this on the site. But this is one of the most powerful chart patterns you'll ever see in the marketplace, this empire price pattern. You want to be a freaking pro trader. This is your little free, hey, this guy does these videos and every once in a while he drops nuggets of wisdom for completely free. Get into the habit of hunting that 3-bar pattern. This is an inverted one or upside down one, but think of like the Empire State Building. I don't know whether I can do this or not, but let's see what happens. This is why we call them empires. There is a specific name in the candlestick nomenclature, if you will, for this type of pattern. I mean, you could call it a 3-bar fractal, whatever. But the Americans went, and keep in mind, this is Japanese, right? This is after the end of the Second World War. So when Mr. Neeson brought this concept back to the United States, the last thing in the world the Americans are going to want to do is start wrapping their arms around Japanese vernacular. So the first thing the Americans do, let's slap a big old American label on this. So it now officially becomes ours. Anyway, so if you look at the Empire State's Building, it's got these sort of like spires, that looks like a fractal. You can see all this sort of pieces. So this is why, we call this an empire pattern. Might be tough for a new person to trading to see that. But this is a very, very popular pattern in the futures trading industry to hunt for. This happened to be an upside down one. Might be a little hard for you to see that, but that's a very powerful signal right there. But there's the 25 level way up there. I wouldn't have a problem if you said, hey, I'm going to buy on a stop there and I'm going to risk to a break of these lows. Also, too often when I see this, oh, cool. Now there's a name. I'm not going to say that on air. I don't know. That's not a very complimentary name, sir. And that might even be a ma'am. Have you ever heard a woman call herself a wanker? I don't know. What's the definition of a I don't know whether I want to go down that avenue. But nonetheless, great to see that you couldn't wait for today's show. Fucking hell, that's awesome. Anyway, teaching you stuff here for free. There should be. I'm not quite surprised. I mean, almost every single video, sometimes they're a couple hours long, so I can appreciate you kind of run out of patience with me. But almost every single video, I'm dropping some sort of nuggets of wisdom that you can include in your trading to make better trading decisions. Also, too, this is kind of cool. Look how the volume pattern here, these green bars, this is how I study volume impetus. And what we really want to see, I mean, I don't know, let's do a quiz over on YouTube. What letter of the alphabet do we want to see if we're bullish? Is there a specific letter of the alphabet we want to see on our charts? And I'll make it really easy for you. This is another screenshot that you can take. We should all be a part of Bert's Club, the National Association of what letter of the alphabet? Can somebody help me here? Anyone? Thank you. Association of W lovers. Right, so you should all be Bert. Where's good old Bert? There he is. Well, that sucks. Google doesn't want me to show you Bert. Anyway. I'm still getting over that cold, so bear with me here, everyone. And actually, it's pretty cold here in Vancouver, so man, it's going to be a tough car ride with Lily today. Better stay on the main roads. Anyway, so if you can remember this International Association of W lovers, you can remember empires as fantastic price patterns to trade. Geez, you're halfway on your way to 3 reasons for a trade. Right? You can look for W's in your indicators. And actually, this is a backward methodology here. W's in your indicators. Well, W in price, but maybe you don't get the luxury of a W in price. Empire in price. So that's like 3, 2. There you go. Somebody helping me out. A pin hammer. I think, unfortunately, and you might call that if it's an empire top, we call that that particular candle a shooting star or gravestone doji. Those would be, I guess, sort of the Japanese candlestick names. Pin hammer, that would be a bullish one. So hammer, dragonfly doji, I think that's the term you're looking for. That would be like the actual Japanese themselves. What is the name that they would give them? I think they would give that a dragonfly doji label. Anyway, that doesn't matter. Okay, so we're talking empires. We're talking W's in our indicators. And actually, I didn't finish that tutorial with you, but it sounds to me like Brian's hit 2 of 3 reasons to justify taking a trade. What's the other reason that maybe Brian's missed that you might want to consider? This is kind of like one of those kind of questions that's backwards that you really have to understand the answer, like really know the answer to actually be able to answer the question I'm asking. Very good. Elavorn clearly shows that you actually understand the concept to be able to answer a question like that. That's what they often do on exams, like multiple guess and stuff like that, is they'll phrase the question that unless you actually know specifically the answer, you often just guess the wrong thing. So the answer I was looking for is, if we have empire, this is all about price patterns. So that's reason number 3, right? Market structure. Number 2, W's in our indicators, which is the lecture sort of tutorial that I was giving you here about volume. And then finally, ironically enough, firstly, right, trade location. So I like to use things like trendline breaks, the bot setup to help me understand, is this an acceptable trade location to consider? So anyway, to finish off that conversation, good old Bert, this is volume impetus. Notice as the market was moving up here, can you see how the green bars here, these green represents an up candle, and red, unfortunately, represents a down candle. Do you notice how the green bars are getting smaller and smaller and smaller, even though price is going higher and higher and higher? So there's your little tell that, hey, something's not right here. And then notice, as we're working our way up here, notice the red bars are actually getting higher. So the sellers are accelerating. Oh, something's not right there. And, this is what we would call divergence, where you have the price of the asset moving to new highs, but the volume is not. There's a problem here. Something's not right about this equation. So we have to go through a consolidation period, and you notice the volume just sort of disappears. The red guys were pretty active here. Green guys were trying to be active, but you notice that the green guys kept putting in lower bar highs. So as of here, this was sort of the tell that, hey, something's not right here. We need to see these green bars making higher highs and higher lows. And at the same time, too, if you're a bull, you got to see these red bars, you got to see the sellers go away. So you notice by the time we get down into this area here, now the red bars are also doing that same pattern where they're getting smaller and smaller. Notice red bar smaller, red bar smaller, red bar smaller, red bar smaller. Look at all these red bars smaller till the point where we get into here where everybody has just completely disappeared. Everybody's gone to sleep. That's what I call this. The market has gone to sleep. And now what we really want to see, if you're a bull, is you want to see the green bars, the bulls, wake up and start to make higher highs and higher lows. So at this point right here, you can see the green bars are now starting to make higher highs and higher lows. And the red bars are still non-existent. They're just not around. And what a surprise. You could make the argument, like Bert and his W lovers, right? We went down and then up and then down and then breakout. There's your W in your indicator, in your volume. And interesting how this little volume ramp corresponds nicely with that W breakout. So what this tells me is a lot of people saw this W breakout and they went and bought that. And now if we had seen the red bars right here come active and rah, rah, look at me, I'm a red bar, rah, 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 well, then maybe that would have been it. But you notice the red bars no sellers really stepped up. They just didn't do anything. Then here we are ramping up higher, more green bars. Woo, look at me, I'm a bull. Rah. But notice, hey, the red bars, the bears finally said, hey, you know what? Hey, we are still awake. So F you, don't disparage us. But I think that the green bars is let's move over here. I think the green bars here are fully in charge. They're driving the bus. Rah, look at me, rah, rah. But remember this bot setup. We're supposed to go A to B, C to D. So if you are a botter, and at this point, you're ringing the register and you're saying, all right, I bought the W, the 25, time to pay myself for my efforts, right? And this is the whole point of this setup is if you had bought this, well, that's the risk that you would take, that box, but your reward box is that box. And that's the secret to making money in this game, folks. Try and make sure that your green winning boxes are bigger than your red losing boxes. Even if you're not even right 50% of the time, I think you can shoot 60, 70% of the time. I think that's realistic. But if you're, if you're right only 50% of the time, but your winners are this amount of money and your losers are this amount of money, are you profitable at only 50% accuracy? I think the answer speaks for itself. And then, so green bars, rah, 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 into this top here. Does it not surprise us that once we get up to this level where good technicians are probably taking profits, you actually start to see the red guys actually wake up and say, I'm here and I'm going to start doing some selling. Sell, 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 sell. So then we go through the whole process again. So we found a new level up here. You never know. We might just do exactly the same thing here where this just consolidates. Here, let's get rid of all this other stuff. Yeah. What's weird is you can actually see it happening as we speak here. Look at the volume. Is anybody, can everybody look at my screen, look at the volume and tell me, is the market waking up or is the market falling to sleep? Falling asleep? Falling to sleep? You tell me. I got to blow my schnoz, so I'm going to put myself on mute. And I want you to think about this. Look at the volume pattern and give me a very direct answer. And this is both the bulls and the bears. Are they waking up or are they falling asleep? And there's 77 people watching this video. I want to see 72 answers. I'll let 5 of you off the hook. Man, what a freaking mess that is. That was just blowing my snot. Yep, more to do. Be right back. All right. Answer is falling asleep. Very good. All right. Well, and if you are a level oneer, you are going to have a full week, 2 weeks of this conversation called a volume impetus. So, does it not make sense now? And really, if anything, as a good technician, well, market could do any old damn thing it wants, but what we're trying to do, considering Flebos, is we're trying to interpret market participation here. And I would actually make the argument everybody's fallen asleep. And what a big surprise. You can actually see that we're doing nothing more than we're just consolidating in here. So this is exactly the same conversation as here. It's identical. I mean, like I said, the universe is a fractal. It doesn't really matter whether we look at this from a 15-minute basis or a weekly basis. The concepts are exactly the same, but I hope you can appreciate that an investor that really doesn't want to be looking at the chart 24/7, they're not going to be looking at a 15-minute chart. They're not, they'll be probably operating off of like a weekly price chart. And I've told all of you repeatedly over the years, the easiest way for you, actually, this would be a good little trivia piece for you. Let's see how many of you can answer this, because good that a lot of you recognize that the volume is trailing off here. People are kind of losing interest. And frankly speaking, considering this thing started at $1 and here we are at $65, I mean, who on their right mind is going to go and pay that much for this? Unless they actually start seeing a really good looking breakout happening here. Anyway, so I would just simply say range bound. And actually, this is also a really good testament. Remember, I had said here, and let's see if you guys can help answer this. We had said that the market pushed higher here. But you notice when you look down at the volume, the market did not push higher here on the buy side. In fact, if we get rid of this seller here, you can see that this buying volume was trailing the whole way up. So what do we call that condition where you see things like you can do volume? They always say volume speaks volumes. If you want, there are a lot of people in the market that don't even look at, price oscillators. They just follow volume as their indicator. Nothing wrong with that. Some would argue actually that's a really a very good way to approach this. Put all those funny little squiggly lines away and just try and understand and interpret volume and this whole concept of impetus. So what do we call that state where price is pushing higher but volume is not? We call that divergence. Well, thank you, Galaxy. So you tell me, was this market heading into divergence here? Should be pretty straightforward stuff. And all of you should be able to identify this at any given point in time. This is half of your job as a technical analyst, is you have to be able to identify, yes, the public is pushing price to new highs, but we don't have is this a new volume impetus? Is this a W in volume when it looks like this? Would Bert himself endorse you? Yes, this looks like a W. No, in fact, I hate to say it, but it actually looks like an M. Not a W, an M. Right? What does a W look like? We got to go down, up, down, breakout. That's a W, kind of what we saw here. So that's what you have to see. So from an indicator perspective, I would actually argue that the market here, Flebos or Fubos, whoever said that, the market here is telling you, just wait. Don't go and make a prediction. Just simply wait and listen to the market and let the market dictate what you're going to do here. And I would argue that I mean, this is a very well-defined range here. And this might be yet another bot setup. I mean, you don't know. And as you said, Flebos, market could go up, market could go down. But what we want to do is go through a process, right? So we're going to, first things first, let's ask whether we've had at least a 33% correction, but no more than 66, because then that will take the bot setup off the table. So you can see from this range alone, there is the 33%. So we have met that condition. So then that means we can take our study and we can clone it and we can ask, all right, well, if we've had at least 33 and we're thinking trend continuation, well, then maybe what we should be doing is asking whether we're starting to get W's to form at appropriate levels on the price chart to frame a trade. There we go. Interesting. So I really like this actually very wide base. And then, like I said, we had a nice empire right off of that. And then you had really nice volume ramp up right there. I don't know whether I see as much to get excited about here. You know, there's the 25 level. If we look at the top and the price here, there to there, we've broken the trend line. But what I'd really like to see, and maybe it turns into an empire, I don't know. I mean, ideally, what I'd love to see is a nice W, something along those lines. Give me 3 higher lows to risk against. Give me some sort of structure on the other side of this trend line. And maybe this thing ramps up and starts heading up to new bot objectives up top here. I don't think it's in anybody's best interest to quote unquote predict the future. Just your job as a technician is just to roll with the punches, trade your setups. If the setups come in, great, take them. Live by the sword, die by the sword. And if the setup happens to come in and your appropriate risk level, in this case, the bot, 100%, or you know, the bottom of the range is broken here, then you have to go into risk management mode and just, you know, protect capital. And that's really a trader's life. So if you are interested in this Trump name, is this something that I'd be interested? No, not at all. And ironically enough, I think I told you earlier, I actually did have a Trump proxy on, and I broke my rules. Tis tis, Brian, you doofus. To I did it as a partial experiment, a partial illustration. What happens when you break your plan and you don't follow your setups and you don't do what you're supposed to do, blah, blah, blah. It's hindsight 2020, maybe. But this was an example of one that I bought on pretty good technical justification for getting long. Hopefully you can see trade location, bottom end of the range, price structure, nice W's. I think we did have some indicator confirmation in here. It was a pretty good level to buy. And so I did go and buy around this 10-cent area. When zooming up into my double level, and you know, everybody's like, you know, that 3 arrows capital, don't buy more, or what is it? Don't sell half on a double, buy more. So I said, all right, for this one, since we know that the inauguration's coming up, and I think there's going to be a big circle jerk event into that inauguration event tomorrow, let's take profits. Let's plan to take profits at 4669s, which is like a double of a double. And of course, hindsight being 2020, I look like an idiot. And, you know, this is half the reason why I like doing these sell halves on doubles and then throwing stink bids in at reload zones. Because remember, I bought at 10 cents here. I could have very easily sold half on a double, established one risk-free trade, taken that original capital and gone and thrown it right back in at the original buy price. This is like a shark setup at TRI where market structure aligns with 78.6s. And on yesterday's dump in this thing, when everybody was going crazy in that Trump, the real Trump coin, this is Trump, I would have been filled and I would have had 2 cars working here now. But no, I still got my original sell a shod on a shod order working up top here. and live by the sword, die by the sword. Yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm looking kind of foolish here, though, for not doing exactly what I've done year in, year out forever in this space. But it was a good illustration. And if anything, this is going to be a perfect model for me to use going forward and walk students and people who actually come to me to want to learn how to behave in the marketplace. This is going to be an absolutely perfect illustration of why you should sell halves on doubles, and then see if you can get that original capital working back in against the bottoms, and how you can compound your money through selling half on double. Maybe it's selling half on 2.2, 2.3. We talked about in the level 1 class yesterday as a good way to make sure that you have capital sitting on the side to pay your taxes, blah, blah, blah. You know how that goes. But the point of the matter here is just sitting here and doing nothing right now, waiting for my pie in the sky fill. I think I've actually left money on the table. Tisk tisk. And I mean, it's not really like it's right or wrong. This is what I said I was going to do. So, as long as I do what I say I was going to do, then really you can't fault yourself. But looking back in hindsight, you can clearly see not such a good idea to let that double slip through your fingers. And again, remember, this is on shit. I mean, this thing technically has absolutely no intrinsic value whatsoever. And I might even make the exact same argument about Mr. Trump. I mean, frankly speaking, some of the tweets that I'm seeing online about, I'm actually, I read one post, somebody posted in the lounge this morning. I couldn't believe it, where some doofus online actually said something like, well, there's nothing really behind Bitcoin backing the value of Bitcoin, but this coin, it's got Donald Trump backing it. It's got Donald Trump as the intrinsic value of the coin. Let's just set the record straight. That is absolutely horrific thinking. Mr. Trump couldn't give a flying fuck. And you don't even know whether this is Trump Sr. This might be, like I said, Baron Trump reference. I mean, you don't know. And there is no intrinsic value behind this thing whatsoever. None whatsoever. So anyway, somebody did ask me in the AMA document about Trump. And keep in mind, half the reason why I do these broadcasts is really to speak to the current students if they have questions that couldn't be answered in the respective class by the students. Ask the question here, and I'll be more than happy to address it as best as I can. All I can do is give you my opinion. Right? So anyway, Brian, thanks for asking my question in the level 1 class yesterday. And yes, I am gambling. I think I made reference to this earlier. I was one piece of advice that I give all students is while you're in the program, it's only 90 fucking days. I mean, come on, you can't control yourself for 90 days, especially if you're a level 1er. Put your money away. It's only 90 days and learn the process. You've paid us good money. We are here to teach you the process from step 1 to at the end of level 1 program. You should have 2 very appropriate. In fact, I just walked you through one of the setups that we teach in the level 1 program, the bot. Then there's another setup that we teach in the level 1 program, the El Tangonator, which is nothing more than a range trade setup. Put your money away and just concentrate. You're here to learn the process. You're here to learn about building a trading plan. You're here to learning about yourself, and take the time and do things like verbal diarrhea and do the personality test to try and figure out, what type of personality you are. That will definitely dictate what type of risk taker you are. Somebody who's a little old lady is not probably, I think Julian did his personality test years ago. And he's like a James Bond type. He's looking for the action. He's looking to be a superhero. I'm not. You know who I am? I'm Morpheus. And probably a lot of you who are sight people on YouTube know what I'm talking about. Probably people who are watching me for the first time have no idea what I'm talking about right now. So that is all about what's it called? Britain. Well, Briggs Stratton or something like that. I can't remember the name of it. Oh, look at this. My browser just keeps crashing. I think I better reboot. Probably going to lose the video here of me on camera. Anyway, the 16 personalities, just so you're aware, and it actually explains why I can actually do this silly job that I've put on myself for free. I've literally done this show every Sunday for free, not a penny of remuneration, because I'm an idiot. But no, that's not it. It's because, and whatever it's worth, I am a ENFJ when I went through and I did my personality. I don't know whether they'll show you the actual personalities here. Oh, I'm not on that screen. Where am I? And actually, I don't know. Maybe you can just go ENFJ. Oh, that didn't work. Let's try that again. ENFJ. Yeah, let's see what happens. Good heavens. How many pages? The protagonist. So this is who I think I am. And what a surprise, right? Here you all are. All right, Coach Brian, tell us how we're supposed to act. And actually, there's a interesting character who's an ENFJ, and I always fancy myself him. Although you can say, I don't even know if this is the webpage that I used to go off of. No, I don't know where it is. I think there used to be these guys. Maybe you have to pay or something to see all this now. It wouldn't surprise me. Yeah, look at that. Now you actually have to pay money to see this stuff. That's too bad. But the sort of popular ENFJ characters are actually maybe ENFJ. Always fancied myself Morpheus. This character, he's an ENFJ. And my job is to release the Neo in all of you. I used to always talk to my students about this, right? And I also think, too, to a certain degree, although this message has been a little bit diluted over the years, and actually, I think I'd like to try and get back to this. When I first started this whole education program, I used to teach people like individually, and I used to have like weekly sessions with them. I don't even know whether you can do these personality tests without having to subscribe to these places now, which kind of sucks. I'm not quite sure what it is. But anyway, they used to have like a scroll bar down at the bottom, and they used to talk about the different type of people who are anyway, they used to have like a whole list of like a sliding bar of all the people, and Morpheus would be one of the characters. I always fancied myself as a Morpheus type person, and I mean, doing these free videos week in, week out for 10 years straight. I think that's a perfect analogy of that. I'm here to try and help you. At least here in this, that's what's going on inside of here. Is I actually believe that I'm here to try and help you. Hope I can. That's my honest wish. I want to, when I pass away, I want to stand in front of my maker. Hopefully JoJo's just going to be sitting off on the sidelines watching. I want my maker to say, Brian, you were honest. You weren't deceitful. You didn't steal. And you tried to make a positive difference in this world. That's all I can do. That's my ultimate hope. So anyway, that's a little bit about me. And this is the kind of stuff that you have to do to try and figure out what type of market participant you are, because no two of us are built the same. And a lot of you that come to me to try and learn, you're not protagonists. Like I said, Julian, he's like James Bond type guy. So We have to figure out who you are and what speaks to you as an individual. Some people being like a lower time frame leverage futures trader junkie, that's your thing. Cumulative volume delta. I know one guy that I met a few years ago is beautiful to watch. He's very mechanical in his behavior in the marketplace. And he traded one setup that I never really liked that much, but I included it as part of my sort of introduction education to all of you. And actually, he and I traded that one setup and actually made money with it. It was profitable, but man, it's a pain in the ass only being right about like 50-60% of the time. It's debilitating when you start your day and in like 2 minutes your day is over because you got stopped out at a full loss and you have to turn the machine off. So. But that's a futures trader's life. You got to get used to that shit if you really want to live that life. But over time, I did watch him develop and watch him find tools. And now I see him just in there like a total sharpshooter, just doing his thing, just speaking to the type of trader that he is. Had to figure out, what setups work for him, what tools work for him. Process really doesn't change. It's exactly the same for everybody. Have your 3 unrelated reasons. They could be time of day, opening event. Tomorrow as a catalyst, this is definitely going to represent trade location to a lot of people in the world. This is clearly a huge fundamental event. And actually, probably this should be a good segue to move on over to actually looking at the Bitcoin chart. I've been talking to you guys about this for a while now. Nothing's changed in this conversation at all. I definitely thought that we were going to rally into this event. I actually thought the broader crypto market would be a little bit more enthusiastic, but it is what it is. You just got to roll with the punches. So that image that I show you week in, week out, and that I tweet about constantly is this image. We've talked lots about this 2.618 up top here. This 4.669. And I'm actually frankly surprised that those didn't get hit. And that's exactly what I told you last week. Top of the parking garage, 200% range extension. That really should be traded to. So again, very surprised that these levels were not hit. And well, lo and behold, look what's happening here. I would definitely say though, once we bump up against the top of this channel, and this channel goes back a ways. So the bottom of the channel, and actually how far back does this channel go? Oh boy, a long way. Yeah, maybe too far. Where's the base of this damn thing? Where did I draw it off of? I guess maybe it was just through here. Oh yeah. Okay. So boom, boom. The fact that we went through this high actually creates a triangle. Don't know whether it would take too long to go through all that. We don't have that much time. I've only got, holy shit, it's already afternoon. Oh, Jesus, I got to get out of here. Oh, that's too bad. Damn it. Okay, well, long and short of it here, we're coming up into some really important technical objectives. So don't be surprised. We're coming into this fundamental event window. So don't be shocked about that. My hunch here is that if we do go up through here, we're going to create divergence in a lot of indicators. You can even see RSI is not at new highs. MACD is not at new highs. Volume is not at new highs. So just as I showed you with that Trump coin off of lower time frames, does look to me like we're going to be painting divergence through here. There's a big difference though between potential divergence and confirmed divergence. So if we do, one might argue that this will be trade location. My hunch here would be this would be a profit-taking window, not a shorting window. And I think because of this image, I think it's actually pretty dangerous to actually step in and short this market state. Having said that, I don't know whether I really like the idea of you going and spending your hard-earned money here and buying an asset like this right here. Does seem awfully expensive. Having said that, I do think that this is our future here over the next 6 to 12 months. Um, my hunch, for whatever it's worth, is we probably need to do a little bit of consolidation here. That's just my hunch. Doesn't really mean much. Because Bitcoin is so heavily manipulated and securitized and all that kind of fun stuff, I don't think it's actually given permission to actually go down in earnest. And every time you see the market's about to break on this thing, somebody comes roaring back in and just buys up everything, and it moves off of the lows. And I've seen that repeatedly here with the Bitcoin story. Also, too, when we looked at the put up open interest on the IBIT, it was clearly obvious that there was no way in hell they were going to let that IBIT go down. So this to me actually feels like an up only market state. The only problem here is, are you kind of walking into potential problems here coming in on the buy side now? You know, I wouldn't be surprised if there's some sort of euphoric blow off top into tomorrow. Hell, I wouldn't even be surprised if there's like a $5,000 rally you are greeted with first thing tomorrow morning. But again, coming in and actually spending money up top here, I think you're kind of asking for trouble. This is a 30-minute chart now off of something like Stamp, and you can see how many divergences are building here. So, if we look at the indicators, they're trying to W out. That's not terrible. Willie is Willie stupid yet? As soon as Willie goes stupid, that's my message that I'm not allowed to be a buyer. So we're at minus 24 here on this 30-minute chart. So yeah, it could work a little bit higher. Not surprising. Hourly charts minus 23. Yeah, we could work a little higher. Keep in mind when we hit that sort of one above minus 20 level on the Williams percentage R, that's when I'm like, all right, can't buy anymore. Got to leave it alone. So at minus 23, we're getting close. And you can see there was, in fact, you can even see if you did want to play this, there was the consolidation below overbought condition. There was cute little W's there. So my hunch is if there was a bull setup, it was somewhere right around here. If we go down to like, I don't know, say a 10-minute chart, it was probably off of this base here. So that's sort of, one higher low, two higher lows, three higher lows. Good old Bert and his W lovers. You can see the W's coming in here, breakouts to new high, blah, 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 blah. So, lower time frame traders, that makes sense. Remember, this is all a fractal. So if you're a lower time frame trader, it's the exact same principle as if you're an investor who operates off a weekly chart. But now that we've popped the top here, I don't think I could buy something that looks like this. I did, if you were trading, right, that's a pretty good looking inverted head and shoulders. It's not a bad range breakout right in there. And as we said, that was at the point where these Williams percentage R indicators were pushing up. There's a nice 2 W's in RSI. You can see the W in MACD, and you can even see our volume impetus signal. So off the lower time frames, I wouldn't fault anybody for being long. But the higher time frames and like daily price charts, you keep in mind that probably most of you watching this video, you do not operate off those lower time frame charts. Don't kid yourself. Come on. You're probably not that type of player. There's actually interesting that that dragonfly doji candlestick pattern, pin bar, maybe. If I put away these here. Excuse me. Honestly, on the daily chart, I don't see anything here. This just looks like a mess. Range bound, top end of the range, bottom end of the range. They always say wicks and tails like to be eaten. So my hunch here is we'll probably have to come back and revisit that level. And if anything, you know what this looks like to me? I obviously didn't draw this up before the video here. I'm just sort of hacking away here. This looks to me like, and I gotta get out of here. What time is it? Ah, geez, already 20 after. Anyway, I just wanted to see if I could quickly show you this. All right, get rid of all that nonsense. All right, so this to me actually looks like a megaphone. So there to there. And I'm not sure if we go off of that low, probably something like that. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, maybe. Which would mean that this would be a long setup, the third tag, and this would be a short setup, the third tag. So, and not really a big surprise. The only issue here is, are you really going to take a trade ahead of that big fundamental event tomorrow? I don't think so. I could very easily see this thing go zing, zing kind of idea. So don't be shocked. So that's what I see out of the corn. Lower time frames, I can understand people chasing this thing here. Setups, lower time frames kind of idea. Coming up into the top end of the range now, those same people that were looking for lower time frame setups off of like 10-minute charts, I might even argue that now, inside bar there against that horizontal support and resistance level, wherever the hell that was. I wouldn't be surprised if they actually shorted that break there. Their risk was to new highs, and they actually probably took some profits on that dump into moving average support there. So lower time frame players, I think they're zipping around. They're having their fun. Follow your trading plan, trade your setups. Nothing really out of the ordinary here. Higher time frame players, I think you have to respect this message. We are coming into a very important fundamental event window. And if you aren't long now, I think you probably just got to leave this thing alone and let the dust settle. If you are long, well, your job is just simply to spoon feed at predetermined target levels. I don't think it makes sense to sell all of your assets. Of course, you know me. Anybody who's on the site knows me. I'm fully planning on taking profits into this window up into our cycle pivot next fall. Mr. Lee has been coming out recently saying that he could very easily see a pullback into the 60, 70,000 range, and then ultimately a move up into 250,000. And I agree with him, right? I totally am in agreement. And an interesting commentary that kind of leads me to believe that we are coming into a top here was when I looked at things like, keep in mind, in the bear market, when you post stuff on crypto Twitter, they tell you it's absolute crickets. You don't hear anything. Now that the market's all rah bull, and I start saying, be careful. Indicators are starting to flash overbought conditions. This is getting a little dangerous. We're coming into a fundamental event window, and the response here is actually, maybe maybe they even got rid of it. Oh no, here. If you're bearish right now, you're fucking insane. That's usually what Gucci sweater wearers say, and I even said that. Now that's what I want to hear. By the way, are you wearing a Gucci sweater by any chance? So we're starting to see this kind of conversation again, and that is the hallmark of a crypto top. When people start, actually being outright insulting in the space when you post. Now, I'm not saying that it's a short today. In fact, I said repeatedly, I don't like the idea of shorting in the middle of crypto summer. I think you're asking for trouble. But at the same time, too, this is the last place in the world, and the last time window in the world I would think about actually buying. And then add insult to injury, we throw on our proprietary tool that just measures sort of the relative attractiveness of the market based on my old DI technical analysis model. And this market is very overbought. A lot of these cryptocurrencies have moved up a lot. It's interesting, sort of a final thought to that was, I've been watching good old Alan, as I've said here repeatedly to you, all of you. I don't know where I have this. I guess we can probably do it here. I'm a little surprised. I'm not surprised to see Solana. Solana, actually, I was a little surprised to see it underperforming. Same thing with Ethereum. I'm actually a little surprised to see it underperforming. But like something like dog money, I thought it was interesting that this thing really has actually hadn't done anything recently. So it's just sort of sitting there twiddling its thumbs. I can't go in and buy something that looks like that. I mean, maybe bot setups and okay, trend continuation, but that's not little old lady. And that's not even really Joe Sixpack. This is a fairly risky trade here now. And if I wanted to sort of take the very conservative, very staid approach, well, you know me, I'm going to be drawing my reload zones and I'm going to be working my stink bids down at the bottom end of ranges. That's just, conservative, keep it simple, stupid. Don't overthink this stuff. Coming in here and gambling as to whether you think the market's going to go up or you think the market's going to go down. It's the same conversation that I had about people who came in and chased up here. You really don't know what the hell's going to happen here, and it's a crapshoot. Yeah, market might dump all the way back down here. My market might crank up here, but that's not my job as a trader. My job is to try and identify edge. And me coming in here and buying this right here, I don't really have that much edge. I don't know what's going to happen here. Anything could happen. And I don't want to take bets like that. I want to take bets where I'm like, oh, you know what? I think the statistical odds of me making money here are actually pretty good. So, I don't know whether I want to leave off on that kind of image, but I think that's a pretty good tell of what the crypto space kind of looks like right now. And you can see there are like little ones that are just not overly happy at the same time too. The market's actually firming up. I would actually expect the market to rally into tomorrow's event. And then also the last thing that I'll mention here is that because tomorrow is a holiday, Martin Luther King Day and all that. Hey, look at my Giga. Hey, here's a pretty good example. I mean, do you see any W's there? Any reasons to be long? I mean, there's no way in hell I'm going to short something that looks like that. You can see I was on the buy side. Because tomorrow is a holiday, it does give the institutional players an opportunity to really fuck with the market, even though the exchanges will all be closed. So don't be surprised if there's some pretty wild volatility through the latter part of today. And even I might argue all the way in through probably the futures close tomorrow. And then as soon as the futures reopen tomorrow afternoon, then we're sort of back to business as usual. The US market and everything, of course, mark to market based on the actual candles of a non-holiday event print. So my hunch here is over the next, let's say, 24 hours, this time tomorrow, we should be right in the middle of the orgy of Mr. Trump. My hunch here is that the market peaks through that orgy. And if I'm damn lucky, keep my fingers crossed, my little Trump name here does rally up through that orgy event window. Where the hell that chart is, and I can get my double of a double off on I guess it was Trump, and I never did actually get into this. This Trump, and I mean, what was interesting is when they were pumping this thing. It was fascinating to see how it was like literally sucking. There's my Trump. So you can see it's starting to move back up now. But and actually I want to yeah, I did want to load this guy. So it was interesting to see that as they were pumping that thing, it was pulling all of the liquidity of everything else out of the market. I don't know what the hell's going to happen here, but keep your fingers crossed for me. It's not that big of a deal. It's not much money. But I would like to see this thing pump into this event here. And then that will be sort of the coup de grace. And interesting how it actually looks like it might even pivot right off of our anticipated cycle pivot there. So wish me luck. We'll see what happens. Only time will tell. All right. probably not the best offering I could give you here today, but keep in mind we do have this massive fundamental event coming up here tomorrow. So, and considering also too the amount of crypto sort of scuttlebutt around Mr. Trump here this go around, why so much? I'm not quite sure. I'm sure he's even scratching his head a little bit, considering he's really an oil bull. But my concern here is that, let's say 1 week from now, we might find that this whole picture looks completely different. So I don't really want to get into, I certainly don't want to buy anything today. And I would prefer to just sort of let everything settle down following this huge fundamental event window before we start actually making serious sort of bets going forward. And I really don't like the fact that the breadth indicator here is screaming at us that things are maybe a little bit suspect out there right now. So, all right, there's my cautionary wording for you. I'll finish off this broadcast with just a quick comment about the broader economy and where we are in sort of bigger picture cycles. We are definitely, no doubt about it, marching our way through this greed cycle. Yes, I honestly believe that stocks and risk assets are going to be substantially higher by the time we get to the end of this cycle wave, which really doesn't end for another 10 years or so. So, it's just slow and steady wins the race. Try not to chase. When you are buying stuff, try and remember that, it's an open marketplace. If somebody can get you to pay up for an asset, they will. And if you think about great resets and all that kind of fun stuff, I think that we're following along the greatest generation, the people that came out of the Second World War, 1940s. And believe it or not, actually, I think this is our future here for the next 10, 15 years. So we're right on course. Nothing's really shocking here. I'm hearing a lot of people call about doom and gloom here in the short term, which usually means that actually the market's going to move up. As soon as the public and everybody in the public is rah bullish and you must be long and you must buy, that's when I start getting worried. And actually, I did start to hear a little bit out of that about crypto here just in the near term, which does concern me a little bit for the crypto space. I'm not hearing any of this kind of talk in the stock market, so I'm not really too concerned in that regard. I think it's probably just more of like just we're coming into a fundamental event window. So as a result, just be careful about chasing here. In the grand scheme of things, if we did do a nice consolidation here and then by next October, November, we're up at like $100,000-$200,000 a coin, you're not even going to remember this correction. That's usually how it goes. So if we're lucky, if we do get that pullback, I would definitely consider it a buying opportunity. So, but unfortunately, as it stands right now, I can't chase. So right now, I'm just more of a spectator, just watching. And of course, if you want to pump names into my sell orders, I'll be more than happy to take your money from you. All right, everybody. Have yourselves a great day. Wish Lily and I luck on the road. I am very, very late. I should have been out of here about 10, 15 minutes ago. But Brian, verbal diarrhea just couldn't possibly stop until I felt like I've said my piece. Have yourselves a great rest of your day. Thank you very much, Jim and Liz, for your best wishes with regard to Liam and I. Hopefully I gave you a little bit of value looking at that Trump name. Obviously can't buy something that looks like that right now. And if you are trading it, keep an eye out for the trade setups on the lower time frames. But just understand that this window here it's about, once we get to the other, he's actually official. Don't be surprised if actually a lot of enthusiasm and stuff around meme coins and stuff like that just poof evaporates. So be careful here with your hard-earned money, people. All right. Have yourselves a great day. PMA for the win. Slow and steady wins the race. Don't take no win nickels. Remember when you're and the only thing left Brian say is bye for now. All right, I think we're done.